Okay, so I just thought I'd go for a bit of a ride today, and just a short ride, just to let you know what it's like in Bali at the present moment. And things are very, very quiet. Most of the tourists have gone, headed back to their own countries, and a lot of people staying indoors by the looks of things. This road here is normally pretty damn busy, so as you can see, there's nobody around. One or two people, dead rat there on the road, and yeah, I can't get over how quiet it is. So I'm heading up to the shops now to get a bit more tucker, so that I don't run out if they have a lockdown. I think with the if they bring in a lockdown, I know the president doesn't want to have one, so we'll see what happens from there. But if they do have a lockdown, I think you can still go out to the shops to buy food. I don't think you get any harsh penalties for it. You don't get a spear thrown at you or anything like that. Buggy. And yeah, you look around and it's deserted. A lot of shops closed, a lot of little warungs closed. And hey, so I'll head up here. This is another busy street. There is one of the major streets up here that I'm going to go down, and we'll see how busy that is. But even the car yards here are locked down. Well, when I say locked down, they're closed. It's rather unusual. It's quite good to drive around the streets and have a look at all the shops. When you're normally driving around when it's busy, you're concentrating on the traffic in front of you. So now even the church here is closed down, which is very unusual for that church. It's a rather big one. Okay, so this is the major road into Denpasar, and this is normally bumper to bumper. So as you can see, not a lot happening here. I don't know about big stores like Matahari and Ramiana and things like that, whether they're going to close down. This road's wet up here. They could have. Hasn't been raining, so I think what they've done is they've got the yeah, you can smell it. You can. They've got the water police. Oh, sorry, not the water police. The normal police with their water cannons, and they've filled it up with water and bleach, and they go along and spray the roads to try and disinfect things. And they go around to different places and tourist spots and things like that, and spray it manually, which is a good thing. There's probably a lot of spaces that you can't, they don't get to, but you can smell the bleach in the water or on the road here at the moment. And as you can see, pretty well deserted up in front of me. Yeah, we'll see what it's like when we get to the shopping centre. I'm hoping it's still open, but it looks like they've given this a fair coverage of disinfectant here. The road's still wet. They might be up in front. We might be able to see them. And I guess they're doing this all over Bali or Denpasar, surrounding areas. So social distancing is still on the cards, but I suppose when a motorbike's your normal mode of transport, I guess it's pretty hard to keep 1 metre or 1.5 metres from the rider or the driver of the bike. So I guess they're susceptible to it. But everything seems pretty cool at the moment. Hasn't been a great influx of virus here at the present moment, but what's happening is Mudik, or the Idul Fitri, where all the Muslims leave to go to their villages, and probably here, because there's a fairly high number of Muslims living and working in Bali, if they do their Mudik, they'll be heading off back to Java. But I heard that the ferries were closed, so I don't know how they're going to get on there. Anyway, that's their problem. But the worst part about it, if they do go across there, Java Island is, there's about 150 million people there, and there's a lot of people could be infected. So what will probably happen is the people, when the Muslims return to Bali, they'll bring the virus with them, unless they go into some sort of lockdown when they get here. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. That's a worrying factor. But this is the main street through Denpasar, and again you'll see a comparison of how busy this road can get as to what it's like at the present moment. Ramian is closed there. I'll go up the top and come back around to the shopping centre. But this is one of the busiest streets in Denpasar. As you can see, you can probably shoot a rifle down here and not hit anybody. Not that you want to shoot a rifle down here, but nonetheless. So I guess people have still got to go out and go to the markets. The market's probably the worst part about it, is because they're not going to keep their distance in there. They're usually shoulder to shoulder in the local markets, like the morning markets, or wet markets as they call them. Shoulder to shoulder, and you haven't got a good chance of isolation there, that's for sure. But life goes on in densely populated areas and different customs. At least they don't fight in the bloody supermarkets. Well, I haven't seen any fighting yet, but I like those bloody people fighting in Australia in supermarkets over a couple of rolls of toilet paper. Unbelievable they are. Makes you feel sick to be an Australian looking at that, and the footage went worldwide, so thanks to them we've got a fairly good reputation. Should have hung them all up, put them on meat hooks. There you can see people with gloves on, and gloves are not a real good protectant, because you still get the virus on the gloves and you're still touching things, so it's not that safe. Psychologically probably works, but as for the rest of it, I don't know. A lot of bikes here at the shopping centre. Selamat pagi.
Selamat pagi.
Apa kabar?
Kabar baik.
Baik. I turn this off. Okay, so Sierra Nevada was open and did my little bit of shopping. I go home and pack it in and relax again for the day. As you can see, this is another major road and not a lot of happening on here either. So anyway, it is a pleasure to ride around with nobody in front of you and nobody up your bum. It's very quiet. What I'll do here is on the way home, I'll go the other way home and see what those streets are like down the bottom end of this street. They're all bunched up here at the lights, the whole 10 of us. Usually there's 100. I'll get out here a bit. Just cross over in front of me, no problem there. So a hell of a lot of places have closed. It must be hurting their bottom pocket because they don't get paid a lot, these people, and try and make ends meet. Well, it's pretty damn hard. But because they have big families, and as long as a few of the family are still working, bringing in some sort of income, they can buy a couple of bags of rice and a few greens and veggies and a bit of chilli, plenty of chilli to make a meal out of. Whereas in Westerners, you know, we've got to have a big steak and big chops, or you know, pile the plate up. The way I like it, of course. But yeah, you see a lot of them just pulling up alongside the little warungs and just getting a little plastic bag with a couple of tablespoons of whatever in it. Can never tell you what's in it, but yeah, they just they feed on that. Now I think they munch a couple more times than what we do. We're normally accustomed to 3 meals a day, whereas they may have 3 or 4 of these little snacks. And as long as there's plenty of rice there, they're happy. I think rice is like our potatoes, but probably more so because you know, I've seen them and I've taken people out and like this, they scallop that rice down. They love the rice. I'm not overly fussed on it. I like the nasi goreng, the fried rice. It's just plain rice, but I guess they mix it with all the other gunk that's in the plastic bag, and they're quite happy with it. It's quite amazing the different cultures and food that around the world that people eat. It's very unusual for Westerners to see that sort of thing. But you get used to it. When I'm ever in doubt of something to eat in a warung, I always pick a warung that makes nasi goreng, because I don't think you can go too wrong with nasi goreng. It's all cooked in front of you. Most of the other places it's sitting in a cabinet or sitting out in the weather. The sun's been beaten down on it. And, you know, Not real flash if you ask me. But I have been guilty of eating some of it when they don't have nasi goreng and I'm on a bit of a trip somewhere. Luckily I haven't killed myself. I've had food poisoning once, but then, strangely enough, that was in Bali, and it was a Western meal that I had, and I was laid up for about a week. I was 4 days in hospital, so pretty expensive meal at the end of it. And that was seafood, and that was about 9 years ago, and I've never touched seafood in Indonesia since, and never will. Should have ducked in there to get some Kellogg's cornflakes. Actually, I might turn around and go in. See, they've got some Kellogg's cornflakes. Bit of variety for breakfast. Instead of scrambled eggs or eggs on toast, and preserve my toast. This is a new shop that's just opened. I think it's part of the Tierra de Wada shopping complex that I've just been to, so plenty of parking here anyway. Okay, so that'll do. You fucking idiot! Fuck, that gave me a scare. What a fucking idiot that prick was. See how stupid some of these bastards are. They have no fucking brains whatsoever. Well, I got me cornflakes, so I'll go home now and play around on the computer for a while and see what happens. And I know at least tomorrow I'll have a nice breakfast. Haven't had cornflakes for a while, so. Oh, there's the Garbo boy. He's been to pick up all the rubbish. It's good, fairly good service here. And we're home. So that's a little trip around town for the shopping session. So until next time, we'll see you later.